call October 27th Finance Meeting to order. We'll get started with resolution number 1. Authorization for OFA to contract with Columbia County Healthcare Consortium to provide assistance to seniors that have critical needs resulting from the COVID-19.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution number 2, authorization for the Office for the Aging to renew contract with various providers. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 3, authorization for the Health Department to fill one service coordinator in the division. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 4, authorization for the Health Department to fill one per diem hearing officer.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 5, authorization to reappoint Marcia Fabiano at the Board of Health for a 6-year term.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is
Opposed?
that you or Chris?
Carried.
Matt.
That was me.
Okay.
Matt. Yep. For 6, for the Health.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 7, authorizing for the Health Department to renew annual
Move
contract.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 8, authorization for the Health Department to renew annual contracts.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 9, authorization for DSS to fill one principal social welfare examiner.
Oh, who said that?
Matt.
Matt.
Second.
And did you second that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, authorization for DSS to fill one senior social. Matt made a,
I second it.
oh, okay.
Ray Skippy.
That's who's
Oh,
voice.
Skippy made
Okay.
the motion.
Motion to second, all in favor?
Voice.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Are you able to keep up with your notes?
Yeah.
At a base salary of $53,245 and
Move
any
it.
backfills.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 12, authorization for DSS to fill one caseworker position.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 13, authorization for DSS to fill one social.
Move it. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 14, authorization for DSS to approve the annual renewal of existing contracts and mass.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 15, request authorization for the chairman of the Board of Supervisors to enter into an agreement on behalf of the Columbia County Department of Social Services with Tara L. Bencasa.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 16, authorization for the Department of Human Services to move $100,000 of budget dollars from point 1 to point 4.
Move it. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 17, authorization for the Department of Human Services to create and fill peer behavioral healthcare coordinator grade 13A at a salary of $50,429.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 18, authorization from the Department of Human Services to enter an agreement with Columbia Memorial Hospital.
Move it. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
I got a question about, this is the first time I'm seeing it. Can somebody explain?
This is when they need a independent psychiatric evaluation.
Okay.
Our doctors can't do it because they may be treating the patient. It has to be somebody that's independent.
And 7:30 evaluations can come from courts and
That's what I was wondering, if it was something new. That's what.
like sometimes if the judge wants to order a 7:30.
Yeah.
We had a hard time finding a person to be able to do the evaluation. They were in a hurry to get the evaluation to court and the DA's office. So this would remedy that situation.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we took the vote, right?
We have a motion in a second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 19, authorization for the Department of Human Services to contract with Jeremy Galloway to provide full-day training for staff and community.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 20, authorization for the Department of Human Services to contract with CGI Communications for $16,000.
Move it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, public safety, resolution number 21.
Move it.
Move it. Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 22, authorization for the public defender to renew contract with 4 arraignment attorneys for the purpose of after-hour arraignments.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 23, authorization for the chairman of the board of supervisors to sign the amended 5-year statewide expansion of Carl Herring contract.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 24, authorization for the public defender to hire a part-time unpaid student intern.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Unpaid. Wow, that's, I could feel good about reading that one.
Jump all over that one.
You gotta wait, let them read some of these real long ones.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kip.
There's a grant here.
Number 25, authorization for the chairman of the board of supervisors to consent to a 1-year extension of distribution.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 26, authorization for the sheriff to fill 1 full-time corporal.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 27, authorization for the sheriff to fill 1 full-time correction officer position with a salary of $40,500 due to resignation.
Move it.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I have a question on this one before someone jumps. to
Number
it.
28, right?
Yeah, so in public safety, if you remember, there was a question and the sheriff wasn't here. And the question was whether this was the abolished position or
Or
the
the
one that was
sergeant
supposed to be
position.
abolished.
Yeah.
And did we ever get clarification on that?
Actually, the sheriff was here for public safety, it
Yeah,
was point
he
one.
explained.
Point one, I'm
And
sorry.
then quit, yeah.
Yeah.
and public
And he
safety.
clarified it in public safety.
Okay,
He created a position at last month. And then they're filling this position.
But then somebody else resigned, I think that was.
There's gonna be a promotion in January. And once that happens, they're gonna abolish one of these.
The other one.
positions.
Yeah, because that was the thing that I remember
There
bringing
was
that
an
up.
overlap.
Got it.
There'll be a little overlap.
Part of this was because he wanted to get some people trained.
okay. I'll move it then.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 29, authorization for the sheriff to abolish the 1 full-time.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 30, authorization to accept the New York State.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 31, authorization to abolish 1 vacant budgeted prohibited.
Move it. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 32, a resolution calling on the state of New York to fully fund County Law 18B, assigned council statutory pay levels.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, county government. Authorization to fill 1 computer service specialist.
Move it. Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 34, authorization for the chairman of the board of supervisors to enter into contract with multiple providers for Medicare Advantage insurance plans.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 35, authorization for the chairman of the board of supervisors to enter into contracts.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 36, resolution approving the premium equivalent rates for the 2023 Columbia County Health Insurance.
Move it.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 37, authorization for the county attorney's office to extend a contract with Thompson Reuters for Westlaw legal research at a rate of $3,598.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 38, authorization for the county attorney to fill 1 position of part-time assistant county attorney
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 39, resolution to authorize the launch of community
Move
campaign.
it.
Second.
Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye. I want to thank
Opposed?
Supervisor Not too on this one for, getting the clarification and everything.
That was all Wendy's work. I gotta get right. Communicated it. She didn't want to communicate it, but she,
Well, then
did all
I
the
will
work.
email Wendy and thank her, but I appreciate getting
Oh,
those
yeah, we
changes
can
in.
get rolling on this right away this way, so.
Yeah.
Much cleaner and easier.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we'll move on to Public Works, resolution number 40. Authorization to accept the insurance reimbursement check.
Move it. Second.
We have a motion in the second, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Number 41, authorization.
Second?
Motion in the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 42, authorization to enter in a 6-month agreement for fire and burglar alarm monitoring at a cost.
Second.
We have a motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 43, authorization for the solid waste department to fill 1 part-time labor position.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 44, authorization for the solid waste department to reinstate the use of the 7-gallon waste bags for use in pay-as-you-throw.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 45, resolution is requested authorizing the Commission of Public Works be identified as the responsible
I'll
local.
move that.
Have a motion?
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Finance, resolution number 46, authorization to enter into an agreement with Opus Inspection for continued use of the computerized vehicle inspection system.
Move it. Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
We're not even sure of the price of that because we all gotta buy new inspection update computers and,
The cost for the new machine is budgeted at about $1,700 per central garage.
okay,
Yeah, we had someone come in and look at it and tell us what will be it. So I do believe that Highway has a different machine though. They would probably need something more expensive than that. So just for our standard fleet vehicles, I would say it's budgeted at around about 17.
yeah, that's, I thought I heard between 18 and
Yeah.
3,000.
The authorizations and everything like that.
Did you call recently though? Because there was discrepancy in the
Yeah,
pricing.
so I talked to them the other day only because originally we were supposed to have the order placed by November 1st, but then with supply chain issues, it's just not going to work that way. So I did talk to them very briefly the other day. Getting like a concrete answer at this point isn't
Yeah, it's not there.
No.
easy. But yeah, they're still sticking around the 1,700 at least for our
Yeah.
kind of like base level
Yeah.
machine. I don't know what it'll be for Monday.
I think around the same price, but you know,
Yeah.
and if you want to put some bells and whistles on it, the price will go up, yeah.
If we could just go back to the dollar bags.
Yeah, I have a question on that.
I'm just, I mean, I know what the reason was why we did away with them. What's now, and I'm okay with it, but what's the reason we're,
Well, we did away with the dollar stickers because when we were selling dollar stickers, people were buying them in mass quantities and putting them on $5 or $10 bags, and we weren't policing that well enough. But we're working on that end of it too. But we reinstated the $1 bags because there was an outcry for people having the need to do just a $1 thing, and you can't only put a $1 worth of garbage in a $1 bag. So to buy the bag. At the time, last year, we couldn't buy bags, but now there is a manufacturer that can supply us the bags. We've got some in stock from before. So if we have the bags just available in the stations, we'll try that for a while and see how that goes. But again, they can't misuse the bag because you're buying a $1 bag and you can only put so much in it. So,
Well, and that's a
I
good
guess-
temporary, I think we need to take a deeper dive as we've talked multiple
Yeah.
times. But I think that's a good temporary solution because it's only one bag now and it looks like the bag, so you can't really
Right.
sneak it in there.
And the idea was that we would track what goes on with that sale of those and see where we need to reevaluate in the future.
Here's my concern with this thing. I mean, why didn't we know we had bags? Why did we have to, we had
We couldn't get
special
$3 and
meetings, we had
$5
everything.
bags.
And now all of a sudden we can get the bags. So we made all these, we were gonna make all these changes, now we can get the bags. And the harder problem is not the bags, the harder problem is the people doing the work. You know, that they're not seeing the difference between the bags, I'm sorry. you know, fixing this dollar bag thing is really not fixing anything. Problem is the people at the stations are gotta do what they gotta
But
do.
if there's no $1 stickers available, then
But why didn't we know we had bags before? I mean, I'm sorry, I
We
just
knew
gotta vent on this, cause we went
knew
through
we had the
meetings
bags.
and, you know,
we couldn't buy the, last year we could not buy $3 and $5 bags at all.
yeah, but this year, now we can buy them, and we made all these changes and went through different meetings.
So you'd like to reinstate the bags altogether, maybe, but
I'm fine with the way it is, I'm
we
just
talked
saying.
about that. But
Well, I can say from a prior town clerk's perspective and a resident's perspective, the bags are much preferable if we can get the bags, and I think it also eliminates the concern of a wrong tag on a bag. If they have a county waste bag,
That's
they
it.
can fill it as high as they can fill it. It's real easy to say, yep, that's a county waste bag, it's going in the dumpster. You have a
Should have been
tag,
able to see
what's
either way
saying
though.
that I can't put a $3 tag now on a $5 bag, right?
That's
So
true.
I think
I
if
know.
we can get the bags, I do think we should
we
move back.
may be
the
able to go
bags.
back to them altogether. We couldn't get them, and we make this, we didn't want to do the stickers, but we
Yeah.
didn't have any choice.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I just had to
Right
say
now,
that.
You're gonna go with the dollar bags. Let's see how it goes. and
Just
then
a
we can-
dollar bags.
We can
right?
revisit the 3 and 5 as we.
We're still doing $3 and $5 stickers.
Could Jolene maybe look into the availability of the $3 and $5 bags, and if they think it's gonna be a longer term thing, or, hey, we have them right now, but 3 months
I
from
asked her
now-
that question the
Yeah.
other night, actually, you know, and,
It's
She
true,
said-
what if we run out again?
she said something about the bags that are available don't hold up,
Yeah.
or something like that.
We couldn't get the same quality we got before. That
Yeah.
was a big complaint.
That was. the problem.
Yeah, that was the issue, you know, cause I went over and was talking to her after the meeting.
And probably the reason we have the $1 bags left, again, as a prior town clerk, I hardly ever sold a $1 bag.
Right.
I sold the $5 the most, some $3, and the $1 were like,
And you know what, the $1 bag, I don't even know how we're not making money on that dollar bag, we're not even paying our expenses on that dollar bag, I bet you any money.
and I would love to see probably as a subcommittee of your committee, just a really in-depth dive, because at the end of the day, are we tax subsidizing garbage or are we not? Because if we're not, then that department should be equal. Expenses and revenues should.
We've always been subsidizing it, but, yeah, we've had that conversation
Yeah.
and people agreed to continue to fund it.
The biggest problem that I've always seen with it is the public themselves, like you said, the stickers are gonna take advantage of it.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be people that are gonna say, I'm gonna put this $3 sticker on a 20 or 40 gallon bag, whatever, they don't care. That's the way it works. Like you said, the bag might be the best way to go, but you pay for the bag, fill it. I don't care, fill it. That's what's.
But I think expenses and salaries and everything have gone up, and I haven't seen the rates that we charge go up. So again, if you're a
Right.
pay to throw system, then we always have to ensure that we're adjusting things accordingly, because for someone like me that pays Carmen Barbado to get my garbage, then why am I paying through my county tax dollars
There you go.
money to subsidize someone else? You know, it's like we have to go one direction or the other. We either tax everyone and
Yeah.
say you get free garbage, not free, but you pay with, or you don't. And so I don't know, Chairman, if you're open to forming a subcommittee, or Chairman not conforming under his, just to work with Jolene and start diving into that for next year's budget. It's probably a long process and conversation.
It would be. I'll talk to Supervisor Knott about moving forward what we need to do.
All right, thanks.
Okay,
Well, I just wanna add too, if it goes public, if you ever get rid of it and you sell it to somebody that's privatized it, you know darn well, they're gonna cover their costs.
Yeah.
Just like I did. Whitehaven, they're gonna follow and do it. The
That's right.
government seems to have a little more lax than it is when it goes to private.
Right.
They don't.
They'll charge what they have to charge to make money, or they're not gonna do it.
And
They're
that's
not gonna
what I-
provide the same service.
Right,
at the
you
same
won't
cost
provide
that
the
we
service, you won't have it, so.
And that's the nice thing about us. We don't have to make a profit,
Yeah.
but we at least need to
break even.
break even.
But you will talk to a lot of your friends that will tell you that we should fund it all. So, you know, there is that thought, you know.
I disagree, but you know,
I do too, and that's where I've always held the ground.
and I think that's a conversation for the full board. What direction do we want to go? And once we pick a direction, then we just need to make sure that we're doing it in a way that
I think if we
actually-
could fine tune what we got right now.
Yeah.
You know, cause we did make an investment into a lot of our stations and stuff like that, with new compactors
Yeah,
and
and
black top.
we're doing a lot of work.
So
right
we,
now.
we kind of did meet at one point and
Yeah.
decide that, yeah, all right, maybe we want to keep this thing going.
Sure.
So we made this investment. I think we just got to fine tune these areas, you know, as far as the garbage and the bags and all this kind of stuff, so that we don't lose,
And
that's
the
all.
cost.
I don't think we need to throw the whole thing away. We just need to
And it's an ever changing market right now.
Right.
You know.
When someone like Carmen Barbado that I pay, I mean, they're changing their rates pretty regularly with
Right, yeah,
gas.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, 6
Yeah.
months ago, we had a rate increase and now we're having another rate increase, which I get. the gas costs more to get the truck
Yeah.
to come and empty.
And we
my
did
dumpster.
just raise tipping fees and disposal, you know, a lot of different disposal fees last month or 2 months ago there, you know, so.
We don't offer a big enough bag to throw it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even look with the brush, I've been dealing with Jolene on that, cause she brought us
Right.
out a bunch, cleaned up the yard, made it look nice. And now we're gonna try to limit it to not
Right.
big contractors bringing in big trees and everything else.
Right.
Because that just costs everybody a lot of money to get rid of, but bring it right to our yard, or my yard, or whoever's yard to take to where you gotta go. That's where they are. These compost sites, you take it right there, you pay. Feed it, you know, it's what it is, so.
That's good. That cleaned it up there
Eliminates
quite a
all
bit.
that issue of us doing all the work in there.
Right.
Trying to mess and clean it up. But you're right.
There's some things we can't do, you know,
You're right, we're not set up for
we try and just appease the residents. But
Looking over, a lot of the budget stuff, when you kind of go through it, I think we just got to tune it, you know, and that's going to take ongoing, you know.
I almost think if you start a committee now, by next budget season, we might be ready with an answer, because it's probably that complex.
PJ has a presentation.
Oh, okay, PJ.
I'll answer your subsidy question. Several years ago, the subsidy used to be $300,000 or $400,000.
Right.
And that's when we had a bond payment to cover the landfills. Right? Bond payment has since been retired. And, we're pushing $1.2 million subsidy moving forward. So,
That's a lot of
we
money.
need to look at it.
Yeah.
No
PJ, you
question.
want to sit here?
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
Cash flow projections, I promised that we'd have that, moving forward. Now, just keep in mind, this is, they call it short term, it actually goes through March. But this is in our general fund only, not the road fund or solid waste or any. These are our operating accounts that we use, obviously to stay in business. The top line represents the projected cash flow moving forward. The middle line is where we were last year, and the bottom line would be a very low forecast. That straight line in the middle that goes straight across, that represents $16 million. That is our liquidity forecast, where we, you know, the amount of cash that we should have on hand all the time to pay our bills. When I first came in, it was $4 million that we had on hand. We needed 11, and you know, we're right now about 16 million, which is several years
But we
later.
got through with the fourth.
Oh,
We made it. We made it.
We made it, we wouldn't have made it
Yeah.
with COVID hitting, right?
yeah. Anyway, long story short, that's $16 million. Okay, according to our fund balance policy that we put in place a few years ago, a minimum should be right around 16, maximum 21 or so. Okay, that's where we need to be. So our projections are, and they're pretty accurate. Working with this outfit 3+1, they've been plus or minus within 1% of our. So if you scroll down to the end of December, okay, December 30th, all right, we're projected to be at $28 million. All right, that's, we had had discussions in our budget committees about the $6 million, whether we take $6 million and throw it towards roads and bridges, towards the $11 million that Ray had said that we need, that he's fallen behind in the last few years. So we were looking at $6 million to throw towards that. So I see after the Public Works Committee, he's projecting another $3.5 million of repairs to buildings here in 2023. So 6 + 3 is $9 million. So just projecting forward, if we use that money, and we won't spend it all in 23, I'm sure, but you know, rather than bonding that money and use a chunk of money out of this general cash fund, you take 9 from 28, leaves 19. Like I said, our maximum should be 2021. We're still in good shape, but we can actually use some of this money, as we've always talked about for how many
I've
years.
been asking about that for.
Rate trying to pay forward rather than
on
borrow.
every project we do.
I mean, obviously we'll have to borrow for the bigger projects, but as we move forward and unless the economy tanks and things happen, which obviously we'd have to make adjustments, you know, we should be able to use some of this money to pay for some of these projects moving forward. We'll just take it from the general fund,
Right.
throw it into the capital and use it there. That'll save a huge amount of interest. If we had to borrow $9 million,
We still have the money in a capital account, but we'll fund it with the general.
we'll fund it with the The general, right. So we looked at it before, if we had to borrow 6 million for 30 years, it costs us about 3.5 million in interest for the taxpayers. So we take 9 million, you know, it's probably gonna end up being around there, even if you did 20 years. So
With the change in the budget numbers, though, we're gonna bring that 16 up a little higher as a bottom number. You know, as the
no, that's
budget
our fund
increased.
balance policy.
No, I know, but I mean, should we,
What we're saying is we should have a minimum of $16 million on
Right.
hand in
but
cash.
isn't that
Pay bills.
16 million calculated off of a percentage on our budget?
A
Didn't we,
minimum of 10%.
10%, so if our budget's
15%.
up higher, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
our budget's gonna be
And
up.
that's just the general fund?
Right.
Okay, but again, remember, Ray's planning on spending a lot of
No, I
money
know,
over the next
I know.
few years. And we need money on hand to pay those bills first before we get reimbursed.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of capital projects in the works. You know, that's, well, you did a presentation, right?
Yeah.
And you see where there's a lot of capital projects. over
And I know
the
it's
next few
small
years.
beans, but you saw the voucher we got from, you know, DEC for, hazard waste day that we did in 2020. Now they're reimbursing us 50% of what we spent in 2020. You know,
Exactly.
we're still 2 years behind, you know,
Right.
I mean, and that's the norm.
PJ, is the CHIPS program or the state or federal government, giving more money to us?
No,
on the
that
road?
chips actually has come down a little bit from where it was. Is that right, Ron?
We did good this year. I don't know what's gonna happen next
Moving
year.
forward, I
Yeah,
don't see any increases.
no.
Unless there's something that comes about.
If they stay doing what we did this year, we actually are good.
Yeah.
Good, you're better off in the road, yeah. Didn't know if they're increasing because I know there's money coming to them.
Well,
The
there's a
state
lot
is
of,
doing, they're fixing some nice roads.
yeah, there's a lot of other
So somebody's getting money.
federal
We're gonna-
money supposed to come to the
Correct.
state.
That's
How
what I
that
want.
gets through, does it come in chips? We don't know that.
We're gonna
Same
use
with
a tad,
York Bridge, you know, is supposed to be increased, but
we're gonna use a tad bit of that CHIPS money anyway to purchase a truck. To,
Yeah.
You know.
yeah,
purchase
we're
a-
using it,
Yeah.
yes, but I'm just saying.
All I'm saying is, again, you know, we've spent years trying to build our cash balance up to where it needs to be. I'm fine personally, just, you know,
Yeah.
keeping it there and spending whatever extra we
Love
get.
Yeah.
And I tend to keep things very simple.
Yeah.
But we have to have a good amount of money on hand to pay for these capital projects moving forward, the ones that are state and federally reimbursed.
Yeah.
Because you gotta pay for them forward, and we're talking millions.
Yeah.
So.
So if I'm understanding what you're projecting for cash balance here would allow us to pay the 3.5 million in building infrastructure upgrades plus the 6 million in roads and bridges, still keep our balance at 19, which is actually on the high end of what our fund balance policy says, because you said it was 12 to
Well, we
20
should be around 2021.
as the top number,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's, I mean, 19 is towards the
16 is the bottom.
16. So we're
Yeah.
still in the
We're
top
good.
75% of that
Yeah,
range.
we're good.
And then be able to accomplish a lot of the infrastructure things that we need.
But we do have some, don't,
And again, that's all based on what's happening today.
Yeah.
Things go sour and sales tax drops down, but.
We wouldn't lose sleep if Matt has to tap $1.5 million to keep the 0% this year out of that money. You'd be all right.
That's not true.
You'd be all right with that?
No, I wouldn't.
Huh? Come on, it's still be like over 16.
You need to understand the expenses we're faced with.
We just said as long as it's over 16.
but to balance the
One thing-
budget this year, we have to use
Yes.
cash, so you gotta
We're
figure
using
that.
We're appropriating, just so you know, preliminary, we're appropriating between $2.5 and $3 million out of here.
So
So that's another number you gotta.
one thing, we're running into this in the town, we're actually proposing the same 2% tax cap increase that the county is, and we're doing a couple large infrastructure projects. We're doing a splash pad in the park, a skate park, some highway equipment. And I have residents going, wait a minute, if you can afford these big expenses, then why not keep taxes at zero? For me, as a fiscal conservative and making sure that I'm not kicking the can down the road, a lot of what's in the town budget and the county budget too is things like salary increases, fuel increases.
Utility
These are expenses that are gonna carry year to year. And so if you do it, you're gonna end up potentially in a situation when that sales tax revenue is not as good as it is right now, where you actually use that for things like salary increases to keep taxes here. And now you need to do a 4% increase, which you can't do. So I look at it as if we are flush right now in revenues from sales tax, which we are, but I have a feeling that's gonna go down because everything goes up and then down. Do these one-time infrastructure equipment expenses, because then, one, if things change next year, we can say, never mind, we're not gonna do that. We can't say that to a salary that we've set via a union contract. We also can then get those done in 23. And when we come into 24's budget, sales tax might have gone down and we can say, okay, at least we can maintain our salaries, our fuel, our operating things, and we're not going to do a big infrastructure this year because that revenue stream went down. So I do hear you, and that was going to be my question, is how much would it cost to not do a tax increase? But there's the alternative, which some of these expenses that are going up and up and up and up and are going to continue to go up and up aren't going away. So I look at it as that extra sales tax, let's put that into investments that we need, but not put it into balancing a budget for those regular every year operating expenses. Just my
I'm
2
sure-
cents.
I'm sure we'll do a budget presentation.
Yeah, that's another whole
and especially
discussion.
for the supervisors, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and what's money and everything, okay, but again, we're allocating 2.5 to 3 million out of fund balance, just to keep it at 2%.
Yeah.
So, inflation's 8%, so if we
Well, I
come in at
guess
2%,
my
we
only
did good.
We saved the taxpayers 6%.
My biggest argument is, how long can you continue to raise taxes without making harder decisions on how to reduce the costs in a different direction? Because you can't just keep raising taxes every year. That's what we've done except for last year.
Right,
And we just cannot
Right,
continue
some-
to do this.
look at the contracts we just agreed.
Yeah, we're gonna rate talk to the unions, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the big
Well, I
one.
think to BJ's point, the reality is that all costs are up 8 or 10%. And
Our electric bills.
if we go to the taxpayers for a 2% increase, we've actually saved them money. You know, I
Every line item with electricity on it this year, right, going through the budget, went up.
I've seen it, I know,
Crazy.
I realize it, but you know,
Double.
there's gotta be a
Right.
different way to look at it, and it's gotta be a different way to evaluate what we're spending and what can be cut out of the budget.
You gotta shrink it.
It has to be reduced, because
Well,
you cannot continue, I mean, people can't afford the fuel cost, the electric cost, now we're gonna tax increase them again, I mean, it's just not sustainable. I mean, and it hasn't been.
So your speech on budget night, you know it already.
You already heard part of
Could be.
it. Well, I'd like to say I was on Public Works, and, you know, and I deal with equipment, like everybody deals with equipment, and I always feel that we do two things. Something breaks, we have it fixed, we're buying new one. They come say something broke, we gotta buy a new one. The other thing is, in the public sector, or they go out there, when anybody in the trucking business, they track their trucks, they get the trucks, when they realize that it gets to the point that it costs too much money to keep them on the road, that's the time they get rid of them and they upgrade the new one. I never see that coming even on my highway. I don't know about your highway departments. It's just that I need a new truck. I need a new truck. I need a new truck. Nobody tracks it. And I finally said to my guys, I said, I want mileage. I want everything on that truck to be kept tracked of, because those trucks can last a lot of times longer than what they're telling you.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody's in the mood with the county. And then I see an equipment fund. Hey, I need to get equipment, and I better tell them, because they might not give it to me this year. So now next year they'll give me more. But there's no reason why. It's just because they want.
You know what's,
I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong. They could be wrong. That the trucks are wore out and you've got to replace it. But does anybody sit there and really track each piece of equipment and come to the board and say, hey, this one's old, this one's 20 years old, and this is time to get rid of it? You know, and I think that's one thing that should be checked.
should probably have a replacement policy.
We probably should. We
got a good
well, we
spreadsheet on
do
that.
look at some of that stuff, like when they come in with these trucks and all
Yeah.
that. I'll take a run out or something, look at the frame, you know, and lots of times they're rotted. You know, the engines will keep running and the, and the drive lines will keep running, but the frames are gone. And, you know, we're going through the same thing in our town, and it's like $80,000 between you get done putting the frame in and the box in it, and then you're still dealing with an older truck, you know, that, so.
So one thing too on what you said, Ray, how I see it is it doesn't ever stop. It's constant. So wages go up, cost of living goes up, and the county, yes, taxpayers are struggling to heat their houses, to buy fuel in their vehicles. I agree, but the county has those same increased costs, right? The cost to heat our buildings, the cost to fuel ours. We can't keep our employees here. I'm not saying we will ever compete with private industry. You can go make way more in private industry than public sector. But when my husband got a $2 an hour raise without even asking for it, because that was just the market. Diesel mechanics were in a dire need, and people were asking him to skip over to a new job, and his boss said $2 more an hour. So we have to come up a little bit for our wages as well. I still think our employees are underpaid. I think we need to come up more, but you have to stay within that tax cap. So I don't see it as we're going to get there and then we're there. Everything increases, inflation, cost of living, and wages. And so that's the 2% tax cap. And on years that we can, like last year, where we either decrease taxes or keep them zero, that's great. But I think the norm is a slight increase like this. And people's wages are also going up like this. And thank goodness, 8.7 federal COLA this year. So the people on fixed incomes through SSI and disability and everything else are actually going to see that 8.7% for their 2%.
But they're at
increase.
that's at 8.7 and we're going.
But that's what
to-
I'm saying. So
Yeah.
they're actually gonna be in a better position. But that other 6.7% is gonna go to the fuel for their heating, the fuel for their car, you know.
We go through
Milk.
line item by line item. when we
Chips
do
were
the budget.
$9 a bag the other day in the grocery
I'll
store.
agree.
$9 for
I'll
a
agree to
bag of
disagree with
chips.
you because I
Okay.
was here when it was $4 million balance. We
Yeah.
got through it and we
Yeah.
climbed up to $20 million and
Yeah.
we're still collecting more taxes. We're still raising taxes. To me, that's unacceptable. I'm sorry.
So for you, it's not so much the operating budget, it's that fund balance.
Absolutely.
Part of the issue, I mean, a big part of the issue with the budget is, with the union contracts that we signed, which we needed to do because of recruitment issues. And we still have a lot of holes, whether it's in our mental health department, our highway department, our sheriff's department, which is severely understaffed. So you have to offer more money to be able to recruit. But at the same time, what that causes is compression with our managers, so we got to look at that. So it's always it's an ongoing issue that we have to deal with. But I think this year is sort of an anomaly because of those 4 union contracts. I think next year, large as it's going to be this year, I think we'll have an easier time with the budget in terms
Yeah.
of dealing with it next year.
Ray, it's just like your business. I mean, you have to raise prices, mowers that you
I
bought
raise
years
prices.
ago. I mean, now look at the price of them, And we don't take it lightly. I mean, we spend hours going through the budget, line item by line item, trying to cut it apart and do this and do that. It's not like you just sit down and go 2%. I mean, we started out with big numbers. We were faced with almost $14 million, 50, right? And
We got
Cut it
hit
down.
with $600,000 increase just on medical services.
I'm not saying I don't
At the
think you
jail,
guys are doing
you
a
know?
good job. I'm just thinking, I disagree with the amount of money
Right.
everybody feels
Let
we
me,
need to have.
let me remind you too, Ray, that because we built up that fund balance, when your bridge failed this year, we could say we can build a new bridge out of fund balance.
You knew you were
$4
gonna
million
hear that.
That was
fund balance,
ARPA money.
we'd be waiting for state aid money or
That
federal
was
aid
ARPA
money.
money. That's a little different. That was a
That's
freebie.
fund money,
That was a freebie.
but Ray,
But
having
because we had a fund balance, we were able to do that.
having lived through the COVID-19, budget and working and everything, we didn't have that extra cash on
That's
hand.
right, we would have been in.
We would have had to borrow to keep
State
us
didn't give
going.
us anything.
And we may not have even be able to borrow at that point. Remember that?
We were
Because there was
very
issues,
close to getting a rant.
Yeah, we were close, and we had money, we had cash, but thank God we did, or we never would have got through it easy,
We're still.
The state turned off. How much
Yeah.
money were we owing by
I think
the
we
state for a while? Maybe people?
All right.
15 million.
Does anyone have anything else? If not, motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, good afternoon.